Welcome to Lyme Time. I'm Allie from the Tick Chicks. We are all more than Lyme disease and chronic illness, and together we stand with you to overcome and rise. I'll bring you closer to the experts in cutting-edge treatments and even a few unexpected ways of healing. I'll ask the questions you want answers to regarding Lyme disease and successful ways of getting you closer to 100%. We are in this together and will not be defined by Lyme. Welcome to Lyme Time. I am thrilled to welcome Dr. Bill Rawls of Vital Plan back to the show. And this is going to be part one of a three-part series, specifically about his Restore 180 protocol. It's an herbal protocol for Lyme disease and tick-borne illness and just about a lot of other chronic illnesses and complex chronic conditions. So if you're looking to commit to an herbal protocol for Lyme and chronic symptoms, this is your episode. Even if you're just curious about how herbs heal the body, I welcome you today to learn from one of the very, very best in the business, Dr. Bill Rawls. And I will also be starting his new protocol called Restore 180 because after the Palisades fire, I'm in a rental home now, but I'll be here for about a year. And, I moved to a new environment while my home gets restored. And lo and behold, I've been having some reactions to some environmental allergies. And they weren't around me in my permanent home, but they are part of my life here at the new place. And so I thought, you know what? This is going to be a great time for me to jump in and try the new Restore 180 and get going on it myself. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm actually starting tomorrow. So if you're interested in this, you can also buy the Restore 180 kit and you can join in along with us and do it sort of real time in these first 3 episodes. I'm honored to have Dr. Rawls here to walk us through part 1 of my 3-part series today about the protocol. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Restore 180. Restore 180 is basically a collaboration between Dr. Rawls and his company, Vital Plan, and it's designed to turn your health around in 180 days. The program was inspired by Dr. Rawls' work over the last decade with more than 12,000 people navigating chronic illness. It's a 6-month comprehensive system with 3 key restorative phases. The first one is calm, which we're going to discuss today. The second is detoxify. And the third is rebuild. They're roughly around 2 months each on his protocol. Restore 180 is built around a proven science-backed system of herbal extracts and essential nutrients that restore balance and resilience. It allows your body to rebuild strength to target the microbes that are holding you hostage. Every phase of the program is designed to address the root cause of illness and promote healing at the cellular level. I talk a lot about the cellular level, as does Dr. Rawls. We're going to get into it today. This is so much more than just a supplement protocol. It includes a 3-phase health program with education and resources from Dr. Rawls, as well as a community and a network with peer-to-peer motivation and support, and even a free one-on-one, I believe, counseling session. So that's my mouthful, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Rawls. Hello.
Oh, thank you, Allie.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us again. This is exciting.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
This is so exciting because, I think we're all familiar with your Restore kit, the original. And can you tell us a little bit about, so if people already have the Restore kit, how is the Restore 180 a bit different? What sets it apart from the Restore kit?
Yeah, it's just so many more touch points to help people move forward. And it's a systematic process instead of just a bundle of herbs. And I think that's what makes it special. This is a place that I've been coming to for a long, long time, but it takes a lot of resources to build what we've built. and the time of just every little piece coming together to make things happen. So I'm really excited to talk about it. And I think it offers a lot, not just to chronic Lyme. This week I've been researching all the connections between Lyme and MS, and MS. A lot of people test positive for Borrelia, and then Lyme and dementia and all of these other illnesses, and a lot of connections between not just the Lyme bacteria, but things we define as co-infections to all these other chronic illnesses. So I don't see a person as a diagnosis. I think the diagnosis is often very confining. I look at a person and ask the question, why are they ill? And what do we need to do to undo that, to get them back to a normal state of wellness that I think everyone is capable of. And that's the goal with this program.
Well, it's what I really like about it. Always before we could get the Restore kit, and it came in 3 bottles, and it was an amazing. It helped me so much in different phases of my Lyme recovery, and I wouldn't hesitate using that for any other sort of chronic condition as well. I know that most people will make the choice to stay on it for life, just as a preventative measure, and to keep those microbes at bay and to keep your cellular health so healthy. But in terms of the actual product itself, Dr. Rawls, uh, what what sets this apart from the Restore kit? What
The
what does
original Restore
Restore
kit. Yeah.
180? And I think I know a little bit about it because as because I just ordered it, and already I'm getting invitations to join peer groups and set up
Yeah.
my one-on-one. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's not just products, but we'll talk about the products a little bit first. So the original Restore Kit included a product called Daily Multi Plus, which was your basic vitamins and minerals, but in a natural form to address methylation issues in a lot of people, but herbal support for the vascular system, the liver, etc. And that was joined by mitochondrial support with glutathione, NAC, other things that we found are important for cellular protection, detoxification, etc. And then adaptogen recovery, well-tolerated product containing adaptogens, medicinal mushrooms for immune modulation. But then our primary product was Advanced Biotic, which was the strongest, the very strongest formula of the most concentrated herbs for really hitting the microbes hard. And what we found is a lot of people, many people, half of people, just weren't really fully prepared with that for that. And realizing that their body was in a total state of turmoil. So when we talk about things at the cellular level, we think about the body as cells, and these microbes that have often been in the body for a long time have reactivated and started attacking cells throughout the body, nerve cells, muscle cells, heart cells. And all of these cells are in distress, and they're sending distress signals to the brain. And that activates that fight or flight response. So everybody has this to some degree, some people more than others. But that activated fight or flight response, what we call dysautonomia, of sympathetic overactivity, of suppressed normal vagal tone, what that does is it sets us up for failure right in the beginning. It's the emergency response that should be for occasional emergencies that come along, turned on 24/7. And with the body in that alert mode, that fight or flight mode, that does a lot of things. It shuts down the gut. So you have slow motility. That leads to gut dysfunction. That backs everything up in the system, including detoxification and sympathetic overactivity. keeps us from sleeping, accentuates pain, disrupts hormones in the body. So it was clear for so many people that that was keeping them from moving forward. And so many of our patients said, you know, I had worked on that first before I was able to take these really powerful herbs. So that listening to that, talking to people, so many different people, we felt like, yeah, we need to step back and do that. We need to start there first. So instead of advanced biotic and adaptogen recovery, we pull in a product called HPA Balance. It was the first product that I actually formulated because sympathetic overactivity, anxiety, sleep issues, menopausal issues with hot flashes are so prominent in so many people. So this formula is meant to be relaxing, but also calms the hypothalamic adrenal axis to calm the adrenal glands down, calm that fight or flight response. So a product helps, but there's nothing that can totally short circuit that response other than a drug, and all the drugs are habituating. So HPA balance alone, it's going to take the edge off of it, but it's not going to completely control it. So we've learned over time also that support is so remarkably important. So about a year ago, we started creating something called within something called Mighty Networks, a community that we call Vital Plan Network. And it's a place outside of Facebook. We had it on Facebook, but Facebook is now Facebook, you know? The algorithm, you can't control it. This was a place that we could control a conversation and actually help people get the information that we needed. But it also allowed us to build in courses and build in information that was accessible. So for the past 6 months, I've been building videos, writing articles, trying to address every aspect, every question that someone might have. But then, once a week, once every several days, we have what we call touch points. It might be a video of a yoga exercise that's relaxing, or a calming meditation, or just things you can do. Something simple that you can do, like putting your feet up against the wall and just hanging out for 10 minutes to help start calming that sympathetic overactivity. So there's exercises, information. I mean, everybody learns differently. Everybody experiences things differently. So we're coming at it from every angle. So no matter what, we're going to help people with what they need when they need it, with information, with instructions, with support, with products. But of course, we don't want to just let the microbes go. So we've had this product that we call Bone Boost. So there's HPA balance. You only take a couple of capsules twice a day. The capsules are really small. It's another thing. We were overloading with people with capsules right in the beginning, and they just weren't ready for it. Their GI tract wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
So Biome Boost has a selection of herbs. Cryptolepis is the hero herb in there that gets the big three, Borrelia, Bartonella, Babesia, quite well. But in a tincture, it's not quite as concentrated. It's something you can introduce slowly. It's not another capsule. So we've cut down on the capsules that people have to take in the very beginning just to make it easy for them, and introducing all these products slowly so that we're preparing the body. Some of the staff are referring to it as an on-ramp. And so we gradually ramp things up with all the support that people are getting. Again, meet you wherever you are, however you want to get information. Not a replacement for a provider. It's but setting you up so you work with your provider better. I mean, one of the first articles that I wrote was a really good article on how you get the most out of the healthcare system, not only conventional but alternative providers, what should you look for? What should you expect? And how can you navigate that space? So we want people to work with a provider, but we want them to be smart patients when they do it. So they get the best response and they get the best response for their money. So all of those things are really important. So there's so many aspects of this program that make the journey easier for people to navigate. It's really important.
I think it's so groundbreaking to have a protocol that starts with calming the nervous system. I feel as though once things get out of whack, the central nervous system kind of controls everything in terms of healing. And I remember my sleepless nights, and I remember being so tired, yet I couldn't sleep a
Oh,
wink.
yeah.
And I did not understand it whatsoever. And here I am trying to take a sleep aid. And then in the morning, I'm groggy and trying to wake up. And then at
Right.
night, it just repeats itself over and over. So I think that people really do, that are new to, even healing Lyme or tick-borne illness or chronic conditions, and new to trying herbs. I think it's a groundbreaking prospect of just, that maybe many of their allopathic doctors don't even discuss with them. They're going to give them a prescription bottle. And even
Yeah.
maybe some functional medicine doctors too want to just get right in there and start fighting this. But the stressed body, in many ways, is not prepared for it. And so I
Yeah.
imagine with the calm phase of it, which would last, like I said, roughly a couple of months out of this 6-month protocol, is a very, very big step. And even if somebody is walking into healing mid healing, let's say we're not in an acute state, but we're nowhere near healed, this is still an important phase to do for the solid 2 months. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to feel like they're missing anything. I mean, even if you're coming into it saying, okay, yeah, I did brain retraining exercise. I'm pretty good in that area. You're not going to miss anything. Again, and this is a process, starting people out with a bone boost and other products. Daily multi is in there, that methylation support and all the other education. So it's just learning about this pathway of cellular mechanics to heal your body. I built a lot of content in there that I think is going to be very valuable. We haven't had anybody, or it's very rare that someone doesn't tolerate HPA balance. It's such a nice formula that helps so many different kinds of things. Bone Boost is by far the most well tolerated of any of the antimicrobial herb products that I've come across. And so there's just so much there for everyone that I don't think anybody's going to feel like they're going to come into it and it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm past this point. I'm done with this. I'm ready to be in phase two. Yeah, I don't think people are going to feel like they're missing anything because there's so much there.
Let me ask you a little bit about of the worried mothers to be that I always talk to. And, we've discussed this before, but I'll ask it again. How safe is this for expecting mothers and even younger children um, that might not be able to handle sort of antibiotics and things, like maybe their parents don't even want to put them on antibiotics and maybe they want to
Yeah.
take a gentler approach?
It's there's a place for antibiotics. I mean, I talk about antibiotics a lot, and our antibiotics are best reserved for acute infections. If your child has an acute infection and they're sick to the point of even being life-threatening, you need an antibiotic, and I would never hold back on that. But anytime you're looking at any kind of chronic situation, what that it's a totally different situation, and antibiotics just aren't as good a strategy as herbal therapy. And unfortunately, what you're looking at with the conventional medical community is they have one set of tools, and it's called pharmaceuticals, and that's all they can pull from. And pharmaceuticals, when you really look at the range of what pharmaceuticals do best, it's handling acute problems, not chronic problems. And so they really their tool chest is pretty darn limited, and they're trying to use these tools in ways that are truly inappropriate. And we talk about evidence-based medicine, the science really isn't there. They're cherry picking science to try to support use of these things that it's just not there. But I think most pediatricians now would say for a lot of situations that maybe at one time we used antibiotics, well, they're not recommending them anymore, but they don't have anything else to give kids. And they certainly don't understand chronic Lyme disease or a lot of other things that are going on. I mean, look at it. Our kids are really hit hard right now. You talk about modern stress of life and all the things that are happening in the world and the high level of toxins in the environment. I mean, when I was born, there were 3 billion people on Earth, and most of them didn't drive cars. Now we have 8 billion people, and the vast majority of them do drive cars, and we almost have as many cars as we have people. And then on top of that, all the industrial pollution, it's incessant. I mean, kids are exposed to so many things that I wasn't exposed to as a child. So they're getting hit with all these things, plus more microbes. I mean, go outside, look up. You'll see a contrail of a plane going over. And all those 8 billion people are traveling. They're extremely mobile. So we're getting exposed to a lot more microbes than we used to. And most of these things are low grade, but we're getting exposed to more of them. So our kids are really getting hit with a lot of things, and they need that extra protection. And, when you look at this ancient tool of herbs, it has so many applications to the stress that we're being affected with today with toxic substances and these low grade pathogens, but higher concentrations and unnatural foods. It really is important. So as far as tolerance to these things, you know, these substances have been around a very, very long time, and the level of tolerance of most people is extremely high. And when you look at herbs as a whole, I've gone out of my way to go to pick herbs that have a very, very low potential for harm. They don't have stimulants, they don't have things that would cause drug-like effects. I've just been super particular about all of it. So it makes it much more attractive to anybody, small children included. Now, when you look at someone who is pregnant or a child under 6, though, I do think it's a good idea for them to have a knowledgeable provider who can guide them in use of these things, just because every child's situation is unique and that's more delicate. So I think having someone that can guide them through these pathways is important. But again, having that network that you can talk to other people about it is really great too. I mean, think about that. Being able just to pick up your phone and ask a question and have not only knowledgeable experts at your fingertips, but also the experience of hundreds and hundreds, sometimes even thousands of people as we grow this all at one time, ready to answer your questions. And one thing that we've really, having this within this network within Mighty Networks, allows us to control the conversation. So we've kept it very positive. We want people having conversations about how can I move forward and how can I help others move forward, not I'm having a terrible day and I want to tell everybody how awful it is, you know? And that's okay. Sometimes you need to vent. I get it. But so often groups like this just become venting outlets. And we've decided that's not the place for our network. Our network is a place to move forward.
That's so wonderful. And talk to me a little bit about the free consultation or the one-on-one that you provide all everyone who purchases a Restore 180. What does that look like?
Okay. Yeah, we decided that we would engage our health coaches. So we have health coaches, health guides that I've trained and worked with for years, many years. Um, and people have been able to contract their services, and we decided why not make that a part of it? So, everybody gets a 30 minute consultations with each of the phases. So 30 minutes, it's not time to break down somebody's entire history and give them advice, but it is time to get them oriented to the space, to the products, and really focus on the things that are affecting them the very most. So that it's kind of like, yeah, pick these several things, work on these things, and then they can get help in the network. We have Liza Blass, who is our moderator for the network, who's constantly, I mean, she and I are constantly doing things. It is so important for me for this to be a success. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to just put so much information in there. We're doing live events together. I go through the feeds and make sure all the questions are being answered. Liza does that. So we are just creating a space that I just don't think there's anything like it anywhere.
I certainly haven't heard of a space where you do a protocol and you can get three 30-minute consultations for free with your purchase because everybody has one or two questions that might pop up. Like,
Sure.
is this safe to take, XYZ, da da da, or, is this not normal? Is something like this normal or is it okay? I mean, I'm scared. I don't know. There might be a million different questions that come up, but just to have somebody on the other end of the phone that can walk you through it is invaluable, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important.
So tell me, what kinds of daily practices and sort of lifestyle changes help lay the groundwork for healing in this phase? So let's pretend I'm new to the protocol and I just got all my stuff. Should I start right away or should I give myself about a week to sort of lay some groundwork? How would you recommend jumping in?
Yeah. Well, in that first week, this is important. I created a series of videos. Now, none of them are over 6 minutes, but it's just laying the foundation of what's going on inside your body, right? How you became sick, the factors that came together, what's happening at the cellular level, what's happening with the microbes in your body. So that's three 6 minute or so videos that I think maybe the longest one might be 10 minutes. But so in that first week, I want everybody just to get that foundation because if we're all on the same page, if people have been through that content, it's going to change the way that they're thinking. It's the way that, I've come to think after doing this a very, very long time. And once you change your thinking, that's the key to actually moving forward faster. So I want everybody on the same page. So a lot of it is going to be in that first week. Let's get you oriented. Their orientation videos about the product, about the network, so they'll be, yeah, that first week we want you to get in the thing, learn how to use it. And then after that, once a week, there will be that we kind of have a topic for the week kind of thing. We call these touch points. And it may be a short video by me talking about a particular topic. It might be a Qigong demonstration or a yoga demonstration or breathing exercise. So each week we're going to have a topic. Now this is going to be continually rotating. So the thing was we wanted a group of people all doing this together. And the thing with the Restore in the past is we had this email series that I delivered a lot of education, but it started on the day that that person bought the Restore kit. So everybody was out of sequence. So what we've done with the network is this thing where we have this weekly topic, and it doesn't matter if you're in, week 6 or week 2 or week, 12 of the program. This topic is still going to be good for you. So you're going to be in there with a lot of other people in that same phase. And it rotates, it continues to rotate. So we'll have topics that will last for a full 60 days, but we keep rotating it. So no matter when you join, that topic is still going to be pertinent to you, and you will be sharing it with other people. So we'll have this that we'll be doing as a group, and there will be group sessions, group counseling. I will be doing a lot of live events. This will probably be at least twice a month that I'll be having some kind of live thing that I'll be answering questions, delivering a live content of some kind. So, and then there'll be these other little touch points. So we've talked about, maybe like a short video or just little things that people can do every day to bring them on. Now, this is a little bit different if you are familiar with the brain retraining. There's Gupta and Primal Trust
Annie
and
Hopper.
right. So there's several out there. It's a little bit different. Those are good. And I think if people want to do that too, that's great. But that's something that it takes time. You have to sit down, you have to go through a lot of different exercises. And I think it's valuable for the people who want to learn that way and want to get into something like that. But what we're trying to do is offer just these little touch points throughout your day, throughout your life. So we slowly, over that 60 days, move from one place to another, that you start in one place and by the end, you feel more comfortable. You're not only much more in control, you're sleeping better, you feel calmer, you're more in control of your situation. And you have some tools that you've built up over time, not having to sit down and do a big course. You've just picked them up here and there, just these little things. Oh, yeah, I watched that video and I tried that thing and it worked for me. Then I tried another one. Not quite as good, you know?
We're here with Dr. Rawls on Lyme time, and we're so excited because I'm learning everything there is to learn about phase 1 of the new Restore 180 kit. And one thing that that's coming through very strongly for me is the fact that I'm not only just buying a product, I'm buying an entire lifestyle change. I'm buying into a community that's ready for me, ready for my questions, instant support, something I can tap into anytime from my computer. It's just the missing link to so many protocols. And I would love to know the percentage of people that try a protocol and get about, I don't know, a third of the way through it. And then they just hit a point where they have questions and they can't call somebody from Amazon.com or from their herbal companies. They're trying to find a phone number on any given product, or quite frankly, any of the treatments that you might be getting from your provider that are not they're not going to serve one person the exact same way they serve another person. You might have reactions that the next person doesn't have. And so you're just trying to get a hold of your doctor at that point. So this is just just a plethora of incredible opportunities for people to tap into it at any time. I love the fact that you're giving videos that they can access at any time. They're able to ask other people who have been through the program, hey, did this ever happen to you? Or what should I do if I'm traveling? Or those kinds of things. I'm sure a million things can pop up.
Yeah.
So I'm sensing that this is an entire different state of well-being. It's welcoming people who are in a lot of pain, who are out there really suffering, who don't have that tangible support system. It's really easy for us to read a book and to try to gather information from a book and take notes and then try to source different products on our own. But this is just all so easy. It's all laid out there for you. I'm just so excited to be part of it. And this took, I know, years of development to create something that will really come into the homes of so many people and help them. Um,
Yeah.
Now, so phase one is calm. And I think that everybody out there can relate to this. They come in with this, of course, everybody wants to fix the bug initially. And so they come in expecting, you know, lots of things thrown at them. And basically, what we're doing first is we're calming the central nervous system. We're calming the vagus nerve. Well, we're getting into the sympathetic, the parasympathetic. We're learning more about how to start a new protocol because, quite frankly, the body doesn't heal if it's in a distressed situation. So I love that. Can you tell us
Exactly.
the names of the other two? And we'll get into that in part two and part three, but the other two phases, just so we know what's ahead of us.
Sure. Yeah. Well, once you calm that down, and I've heard so many people ask, well, what do I do first? Do I do detoxification? Do I fix my gut? What's going on? And I realized so many people think it's what we eat that causes our gut dysfunction, or it's bacterial overgrowth that causes gut dysfunction. What causes the vast majority of gut dysfunction associated with chronic illness is sympathetic overactivity. And the reason is because if your brain's on fire and your body's on fire and you're in that activated fight or flight alert mode, your body shuts down your gut because it's less important. So you have slow motility. So if you have slow motility, everything gets backed up. You have reflux, you have indigestion. We start growing bacteria in your stomach. You start growing Candida. You start having bacterial overgrowth in the small bowel and all the way through the system. So I realized if we're not addressing that sympathetic overactivity first, and each one of these components, it takes a good 30 to 60 days to really start getting a handle on that, even for people who are not struggling that much. You have to do that first. And the detoxification thing, we talk about detoxification and people are taking these products and dumping all this junk in their system. And it starts at the cellular level. So what's happening is you have microbes that are attacking tissues, attacking cells, breaking cells down, causing debris congestion. That congest the spaces around the cells so they can't purge toxins. So it starts there. And that's really important. And so part of the process is mobilizing it away from the cells, getting it to the liver, getting it to the GI tract. But if you have slow motility, it's not going anywhere. And you can dump all the bentonite clay and Clark charcoal in your body that you want to, and it's just going to make it worse, not better. So handling that first. But by the time we move through that 60 days of just calming that turmoil down inside, getting a handle on this, the brain being on fire, getting a handle on pain and other symptoms, not eliminating them. It's going to take time, but just learning how to live around them a little bit better. Then we can start working on the gut. Then we can start working on diet and food sensitivities and mobilizing toxins. And so just taking it step by step, I think, is very important. So that's another 2 months. And once we go through that phase, and again, even if you're not having a lot of gut dysfunction or you've been through a detox protocol or whatever, you're going to benefit, I promise, a lot. I mean, we're going to have recipes to try. So everything shifts. Those touch points become more oriented toward creating an environment that you live in that is more hospitable to your body and eating, then that includes the foods that you eat and everything else. So our touch points are going to be different.
Mhm.
And then that gets us to that phase three. Well, then we can start doubling down on cellular stress, controlling that microbe factor, and really taking steps to build that solid foundation that carries you on from there. And I can't, what I will not promise for is that every symptom is going to be gone in 180 days. This isn't what this is about. This is a process of preparing your body so that you're in control and your body is in a state that promotes healing, creating an environment that promotes healing in your body. But some symptoms, neurological symptoms, cardiac symptoms, they take a long time. It took me 5 years before all those symptoms were completely gone. But if you haven't created that environment that promotes cellular recovery, and that is what we're doing in that 180 days. You're never going to get there.
Mm. I just want to remind everybody out there that Dr. Rawls was a very, very busy, in demand physician, and he came down with what he did not know was Lyme disease at first, but it was Lyme carditis, and it was a very, very serious case. And it is because of that experience that he came out of it on the other side and decided that there's kind of got to be a better way. There's got to be an easier way and a more natural way. And he really dove in head first and started. He wrote a book on the way he healed, finished healing his Lyme disease, and then he wrote another book called The Cellular Wellness Solution. And guess what? That book was years ago, and just now I feel like everybody's sort of talking about cellular wellness. You were really on the forefront of everything that you wrote in that book. And I love
Yeah.
that book. I love both your books on Lyme disease, but the cellular wellness is what we're here talking about today. And
Yeah.
that's what Restore 180 is.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always written for therapy, and Cellular Wellness Solution was actually my fourth book.
Sorry.
Um,
I jumped in about midstream, probably.
That was my first book, 2008, and it was before the cellular concepts, before I really totally understood Lyme disease and the microbe factor. But it was all about looking at causes instead of looking at just treatments and blocking symptoms. And I wrote it for my patients back then, and I think patients got a lot of satisfaction of it. I used to come upon people that had it in the grocery store because I put a lot of recipes and food guides in there. But yeah, writing has always been my therapy. And about a year ago, I was thinking, maybe it's time to put all this in a book. But then I started writing it, and it may be out as an ebook at some point. But I realized that this information that I could put in this community in a structured form that was so much more dynamic that we could keep building on, that was a better use of my time at this point. So it's kind of like I'm writing another book, but it's all going to be in a very dynamic form. And eventually, what we would like to do is have it in a form that is uh, uses an AI that people could actually query it and, get a question, an answer that was very, very specific to their situation. So we're
That's
working on
amazing.
that now,
I hope
but
it'll
all
be in
pull
your
from this
voice.
same database.
That's wonderful. That's just wonderful. I mean, you and I could talk for hours about this. I want to get everybody started on phase one of Restore 180, we're making a three-part series here. So the next time we talk, in the next episode of Lyme Time, we will be going to part two, which is the detoxify part. And there's a lot of questions that I have about that because different things may be coming up for different people along the way. And so I just want to thank you, Dr. Rawls, for sitting in with me today. Why don't you send us off by telling everyone where they can learn more about the Restore 180 program?
All right. Um, yeah, our website is vitalplan.com, and there'll be lots of information about Restore 180 there. You can also find information at rawlsmd.com, which is just our informational website. We're doing a lot of work on that website. Some of it is outdated, so there's always something to tweak. And so we're working on that now, but that's another source. But yeah, please find more. Come join the network, right? So we have a free part of our Vital Plan network. It has its own app that you can download on its phone, Vital Plan Network, and join the free part of the network. And Liza will bring you in and kind of give you a little tour and give you a feel of what this whole thing feels like. And and there's a lot of good information right there. And just to help you understand how this pathway is really very, very different than anything else you can do. So vitalplan.com or join the network. Please
Uh,
join in.
Everybody's
I mean,
doing it.
there's
Why
lots of good stuff.
not? That's just, yeah, I will see everybody there. And, for phase two, we'll be back in part two of three with Dr. Rawls. And even if you're just still curious and still have questions and not quite sure, please join us for phase two because we'll get into it a little bit deeper and answer probably most of your questions. Thanks again, Dr. Rawls. We'll see you in a little while.
All right. Thanks, Allie. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lyme Time Podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe on your favorite platform to be notified of new episodes. Remember, this is not intended to be medical advice. Take your findings to your provider to see if something is right for you. No two bodies heal the same, and your doctor knows you and your labs best. You can find out more about the Tick Chicks at thetickchicks.com, and if you subscribe there, you'll be notified of upcoming events like the in-person Losing Lyme retreat that I host. I also have shopping pages dedicated to helping your at-home symptom relief, as well as a private support group. Join the Tick Chicks tribe on Instagram, YouTube, Meta, TikTok, Pinterest, and X. You are not alone.